My video number 185. In this video I speak on an interesting topic, growing number of legal cases. This is the topic. It's a very of course uh, very known fact in India. The number of pending cases in the courts all over India is very high. In lower courts, of course, in our country it's more than 40 million as on in 2023. By the end of 2023, it's 40 million cases pending in the lower courts in India. In the Supreme Court, the number of pending cases increased 30% in the last 5 years. This is on record. The main problem for this is the lack of sufficient number of courts and staff. Another reason is lack of time frame for disposing the cases. I mean, there is no definite time frame for disposing the cases in all the courts, including Supreme Court. So that's another reason why the pendency is growing. Frequent adjournments is also another reason for the pendency of the cases in the Indian courts. Government of India and the state governments are also filed quite a large number of cases. In fact, the number of cases filed by the state governments and the government of India is more than that of the cases filed by the individual citizens of this country. That means it is much more. The government cases is much more than the individual cases. Nearly 24 cases have been pending in the Supreme Court for the last 3 decades, that is 30 years. See the fun? So, there are 1.4 million people in India, 140 crores. But the number of courts is very small. It's not in proportion to the population. The staff in the courts, judicial staff in the courts, and the judges in the Indian courts is not in proportion to the population, growing population day by day. So it's the need of the hour on the part of the government of India and also the state governments to see that the infrastructure is developed on par with the growing number of cases, and also the growing number of cases should meet with the men, and they should be immediately addressed by developing the number of courts, by increasing the number of courts in India, including lower courts and upper court, and other courts in Supreme Court, and the number of judges in the lower courts and the Supreme Court. Only when the number of judges in the Supreme Court and the lower courts is increased sufficiently, then only the pendency can be reduced. The number of cases can be taken up and, of course, can be addressed, can be dissolved, can be disposed of. So, and there should be some reformations also in the in judiciary also. That is how they should impose some time frame for the disposal of the cases depending on the category of the cases, and also the age of the case in the court, and the number of cases to be disposed in a month by a judge should be also fixed. Of course, it is not possible in respect of all the cases, because some cases need very thorough and lengthy and investigation and evidence gathering. So that's in that cases, of course, we cannot fix the time frame, but of disposal. But in other cases, simple cases, simple trials, the government of India and the judiciary, in a combined effort, they can just fix the time frame for the disposal of the cases to reduce the pendency of the case in the Indian courts. So of course this is of course going on, and the government of India and the state governments also, they are taking much effort, and also judiciary is doing a Herculean effort to reduce the pendency by disposing the cases time to time. But still, because there is a growing number of cases in the Indian courts, the pendency is growing, which is in the alarming situation. And sometimes the cases, the litigants are dying, After the death of the litigants also, the cases are still pending. This is a very, very pathetic situation in Indian courts. So, dear viewers, if you like my video, kindly share, subscribe and comment. Thank you very much, dear viewers.